Predators are supposed to be the ones in control. The hunters, not the hunted. But every so often, even a lion, a bear, or a shark runs into something it would rather leave alone. Some of these animals carry chemical weapons. Some are simply too stubborn to die. These are 12 animals that even predators are afraid of. And we are starting with a creature whose only weapon is a smell. But what a weapon it is! The skunk looks almost comically harmless. Small, slow, and dressed in black and white like it wants to be noticed. And that is exactly the point. That bold coloring is a warning, and nearly every predator in North America has learned to read it. When threatened, a skunk can fire a stream of oily, sulfur-based chemicals from glands under its tail, accurately, several meters. The smell is overpowering, but the real danger is a direct hit to the eyes, which causes burning and temporary blindness. Coyotes, foxes, and bobcats will almost always back off rather than risk it. The one predator that ignores the warning is the great horned owl, which has almost no sense of smell, and the skunk rarely wastes its ammunition. It gives fair warning first, stamping its front feet, hissing and raising its tail, and only fires if the threat ignores every signal. It even has to ration the spray, since it takes over a week to fully reload the glands, which is why a skunk would genuinely rather bluff than shoot. For everything else on the ground, the rule is simple. You do not corner the animal in the striped sweater. If you think a beetle could never scare a predator, you have not met this one. The bombardier beetle carries a chemical weapon so sophisticated that engineers have studied it for decades. Inside its abdomen sit 2 separate chambers holding hydrogen peroxide and hydroquinone. When the beetle is attacked, it mixes them in a reinforced chamber, triggering a violent reaction that heats the liquid to nearly 100 degrees Celsius, the boiling point of water. It then fires this scalding, toxic spray out of its rear in rapid pulses with an audible pop, and it can aim in almost any direction. Ants, frogs, and spiders that grab one are sprayed instantly and let go. There are even documented cases of frogs that swallowed the beetle, vomiting it back up, alive, after being sprayed from inside the stomach. For an insect smaller than your fingernail, that is one of the most effective defenses in all of nature. The porcupine does not run, it does not roar, and it does not need to. It is covered in up to 30,000 quills, each one tipped with microscopic barbs that dig deeper into flesh with every movement. When threatened, the porcupine simply turns its back, raises its quills, and lashes out with its tail. The quills detach on contact, lodging into the attacker's face, paws, and mouth. And here is why predators genuinely fear them. A lion or a leopard with quills stuck in its jaw can be left unable to eat, slowly starving. Some of the most notorious man-eating big cats in history became man-eaters precisely because a porcupine encounter left them crippled and unable to catch their normal prey. Wildlife veterinarians regularly find lions and leopards with quills buried deep in their limbs and faces, some festering for months, and a big cat that can no longer hunt an antelope will eventually turn to slower, softer targets. A meal that can permanently disable you is a meal most predators learn to avoid. Most animals treat a cobra as something to flee from. The mongoose treats it as lunch. This small, quick predator is famous for taking on some of the most venomous snakes on the planet, including cobras, and usually winning. Part of its secret is pure athleticism. The mongoose is fast enough to bait a snake into striking, dodge the strike, and dart in to bite the back of the head. But it has a second advantage that is even more remarkable. Mongooses have evolved changes in their nerve receptors that make them highly resistant to snake neurotoxins, so a bite that would kill a person of the same size may barely slow them down. To a venomous snake, the mongoose is a nightmare, an opponent that is faster than you, immune to your only weapon, and hungry. Quick pause before the top 8. If you are enjoying watching the natural order get turned upside down, do me a favor and subscribe. It really helps the channel grow. Now, back to the animals that make predators think twice. Most birds flee from snakes. The secretary bird hunts them on foot. Standing over a meter tall on long crane-like legs, this African bird of prey strides across the savanna looking for snakes, including venomous ones, and kills them with its feet. It strikes downward with its heel in a stomp so fast the human eye can barely follow it, delivering several times its own body weight in force in a fraction of a second. The blow is aimed at the snake's head, and it is powerful enough to stun or kill before the snake can land a bite. For a puff adder or a cobra, an approaching secretary bird is one of the few things in the grass more dangerous than they are. In the rivers of the Amazon lives a fish that fights with electricity. The electric eel is not a true eel at all, but a type of knife fish, and most of its long body is a living battery packed with thousands of specialized cells. When it needs to stun prey or repel a predator, it fires all of those cells at once. The most powerful species, identified only in 2019, can discharge up to 860 volts, the strongest electric shock of any known animal on Earth. That is more than 7 times the voltage of a household outlet. A jolt like that can incapacitate a caiman, a large fish, or a careless human who wades in at the wrong moment. And it does not always wait to be attacked. Researchers have filmed electric eels leaping clear out of the water to press their bodies directly against a larger threat, delivering the shock through the air for maximum effect, a behavior that likely inspired old Amazonian legends of eels that could stun a horse. Predators that share its water learn a hard lesson. The one animal you should never bite is the one that can shock you from the inside. The ostrich looks awkward and almost gentle right up until it decides you are a threat. As the largest bird on the planet, it cannot fly, but it can run at nearly 70 kilometers an hour, and it is armed with a weapon most people never think about. Each foot ends in a large clawed toe, and the ostrich kicks forward with enough force to seriously injure or kill. A single kick can disembowel a lion, and there are documented cases of ostriches killing predators and people alike. Combine that power with sharp claws and long, muscular legs, and you have an animal most lions would rather not corner. Underestimating the ostrich is a mistake few predators make twice. Pound for pound, the wolverine may be the most ferocious mammal on Earth. It weighs only about as much as a medium dog, yet it has been documented driving bears and entire wolf packs away from their own kills. Built like a small, muscular bear, the wolverine has powerful jaws, thick hide, and an attitude that seems completely fearless. It will defend a carcass against animals many times its size, and it often wins simply because the larger predator decides the fight is not worth the injury. In the frozen north, where food is scarce and every meal matters, a wolverine's willingness to escalate makes it something even a hungry wolf will think twice about challenging. Ferocity, it turns out, can be a survival strategy all on its own. For all the fear that lions and crocodiles inspire, the animal that truly rules Africa's rivers is a herbivore. The hippopotamus is enormous, territorial, and shockingly aggressive, and it is often cited as killing around 500 people a year, which would make it one of the most dangerous large animals on the continent. Despite eating only plants, a hippo has a bite force capable of snapping a canoe in half and tusk-like teeth that can reach half a meter long. Crocodiles, which fear almost nothing, give hippos a wide berth, and a pod of hippos will not hesitate to attack a crocodile that drifts too close to their young. What makes the hippo so unpredictable is that it does not attack out of hunger. It attacks out of territory, charging anything that comes between it and the safety of deep water. And it can run faster on land than most people expect, despite weighing as much as a small truck. When the most feared reptile in the river backs away from you, you know you sit near the very top of the food chain. Few animals on land can match a rhino for sheer armored intimidation. Weighing well over 2,000 kilograms and carrying 1 or 2 horns of dense keratin, the rhinoceros is a walking battering ram. It has poor eyesight, but an excellent sense of smell and a famously short temper, and when it charges, it can hit speeds over 50 kilometers an hour. Lions may occasionally target a rhino calf, but a healthy adult is simply too large, too powerful, and too dangerous to attack. A single goring can kill a big cat outright. So the predators of the savannah do what any sensible hunter does when faced with a 2-ton tank that wants them gone. They leave it alone. The Cape buffalo has earned 2 nicknames, the Widowmaker and the Black Death. It killed so many big game hunters over the years that it became a legend among them. These massive horned herbivores live in herds, and their defining trait is that they do not just defend themselves, they retaliate. A Cape buffalo that is wounded or cornered will double back, ambush its attacker, and gore it with a fused shield of horns, while the rest of the herd mobs any predator that dares to target one of their own. Lions can and do hunt buffalo, but it is one of the most dangerous meals they will ever attempt, and prides are regularly killed or crippled trying. There are even accounts of buffalo herds returning to rescue a calf already seized by lions, scattering the pride and trampling anything in their path. That kind of coordinated, vengeful defense is almost unheard of among prey animals, and it is why a lion pride will often abandon a buffalo hunt the moment the herd turns to face them. Few animals turn the tables on their hunters so willingly, and at number 1 there is only one possible choice. The honey badger has become a global symbol of fearlessness, and unlike most internet legends, the reality lives up to the reputation. This animal weighs only around 10 kilograms, yet it will stand its ground against lions, leopards, and hyenas, and it hunts some of the deadliest snakes on the planet as a regular part of its diet. Its body is built for war. Its skin is thick, rubbery, and so loose that if a predator grabs it, the honey badger can twist around inside its own hide and bite back. Even more astonishing, it has evolved a resistance to snake venom, with changes in its nerve receptors that blunt the neurotoxins used by cobras. There is famous footage of a honey badger being bitten by a cobra, killing and eating the snake, passing out from the venom, and then simply waking up hours later to finish its meal. They are also startlingly intelligent. Honey badgers have been filmed stacking objects, using tools, and working out how to escape enclosures that were built to hold them, and they will dig, climb, and problem-solve their way to almost any meal they want. It is not that the honey badger cannot be killed. It can. But it is so aggressive, so durable, and so relentless that most predators decide the fight is not worth it. And that, more than any single weapon, is what earns it the number 1 spot. Every animal on this list flips the usual story of nature on its head. They prove that being the biggest or the toothiest is not the only way to survive, and that sometimes the most dangerous thing in the room is the one that simply refuses to back down. Of course, there are other creatures that could have made this list, and I am sure some of you have a favorite in mind. So tell me in the comments, which animal do you think predators fear the most? Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.